The only good thing about this is it hides my face. All right, I guess it's a go. I'd like to call to order the Monday, August 3rd, 2020 meeting of the Common Council of the City of Algoma. I'd like the clerk to take the roll, please.
Herring. Dashlet.
Here.
Moore. He was there, but okay. Gressel.
Here.
Weeze.
Here.
Meverden.
Here.
Pavick.
Here.
Schmidt.
Thank you.
He's there.
Here.
Casey's there or he's not there? Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your sound is a little off. Yeah, I got it right.
Okay, let the minutes reflect that this meeting is held in compliance with the open meeting law. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda as published?
I'll move we approve the agenda as published minus the committee reports.
Okay, motion made by Mitch, second by Lee to approve the agenda as published minus the minute reports tonight. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. As Mitch alluded to, well, I'll get the approval of the meeting minutes from last month. Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by John. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment? The only one registered tonight is Richard, correct? Richard Baker, if you'd like to come up to the podium, please. Richard represents the Kewaunee County Economic Development Corp., and he's here this evening to give us just a little rundown of what's taken place.
Mayor, if I can just real quick,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call Alderman Buer. He's having trouble connecting via Zoom, so I'm gonna call him and put him on speakerphone.
Okay. You want to just hold off a minute, Richard? You know these technical difficulties nowadays.
Well, too much, too often.
Oh. Turn on you doing outgoing phone? Oh, that's I hope so.
Hello?
Hi Casey, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, we got you on speakerphone here in City Hall.
Apologize about that. It might be an internet issue I'm starting to have here too. So I'll keep trying to connect as we progress.
Okay, Case. Right now, under public comment, we got Richard Baker from the Kewaunee County Economic Development Corp. that is going to give us an update. Richard, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. And I also appreciate the CDC committee making a motion to for $3,000 of our $4,000 requests and with a review this fall. As you know, things have been a challenge lately. Like any organizations, we've had our challenges too. We had to do our annual meeting virtually and postponed our Ag Power training day, and our manufacturing career day for this fall has already been postponed. So as we move forward, you know, we had some good highlights in 2019. It's my first full year on the job, trying to get things situated and organized to run more smoothly. We purchased our synchronous software program, which is a business retention software program, so that as I make calls on businesses, I can make notes under that business name, and there's a record of it going forward so that we can look back and see trends amongst our businesses and our communities. And like I said, if we are calling on that business, and again, we at least have a record of what took place in the last year or a couple years type thing. So we have that lovely history. Then we also purchased a LOIS, which is Location One software program. The state has their program for putting real estate out there. One of the challenges coming in here new to a community is that nobody has a good listing of real estate property and stuff. And that's probably our largest request we have is what's available for commercial property and that. So we went the extra mile and purchased an additional software program which will allow us to put a link on our website that will link directly to our properties. So they won't have to search, statewide or region-wide for that. We hosted our Manufacturing Career Day here in Algoma last fall. CTI and Olson Fabrication and Multicolor were our three manufacturers. There was 241 freshmen from our three school districts that participated in that. And we also hosted a social media workshop at the James May Gallery. We had 40 businesses attend and learn how they could better do social media and improve their website, which is probably quite timely being last fall because, as you guys know, during the COVID-19, if you didn't have a good retail website, you were struggled as a business. So that was a good thing in place. We also redid our vision and mission and our plan of work for 2020. We have four key initiatives. The first is to retain, expand, and grow existing businesses and attract new businesses to the county. Number 2 was workforce development, attraction, and retention. Number 3 was placemaking or community development. And our 4th was to build organizational capacity. We responded to 32 requests for assistance. Here in Algoma, we had 4 requests for available properties, commercial space, somebody looking for retail, gallery space, manufacturing incubator. We were actually able to send somebody to Olson Fab for rental space for their incubation of a manufacturing business. We connected one of the Algoma manufacturers to Wisconsin Economic Development Corp for workforce training. And we were coordinating discussions between the Small Business Development Center and the Algoma School Administration on providing a potential entrepreneurial training program in the school district so that as those kids come out of Wolf Tech or graduating seniors that maybe we can help them plant that seed and idea of starting their own business, whether it's right away or after they've gone off to college and come back type thing. And then during the COVID-19 pandemic, worked with a couple of businesses, referred them to the SBDC for further financial assistance. We had 4 letters of acknowledgement or support we wrote during the We're All In grant for businesses here. And in the last 14 days, we've responded to demographic information requests from a lady in Appleton. She also contacted the chamber, wants to come move here and potentially move her businesses here. And just today, a couple hours ago, I responded to a request for information from a business owner that has a side business but looking to buy part of a business here in Algoma, and I was looking for financial assistance and then also location for about 500 square foot space for this small business. So it's kind of in a nutshell kind of where we're at. Again, I just want to thank you guys for your continued support of the organization. Without your support, we just couldn't survive and be able to do the stuff that we can do, like I said. And we continually get those requests. And we're working with the county. Of course, I was active on the broadband committee. So I'm very excited with what Kewaunee County is doing with broadband. By this time next year, we should have 99% of this county covered, if not more. And so, from a standpoint of community development, that placemaking side of things is people are looking for those properties, those rural areas, outside our communities to locate, especially with COVID-19 now. Everybody's kind of looking at that, can I work from home thing? And, retail follows rooftops. So the more people we have, the more demand for housing, the better opportunity we can attract retail for this community and grow our economy.
Does anybody have any questions of Richard for that, people that are here tonight? Anybody at home have any comments or questions of Richard? Richard, thank you for coming, appreciate it. Thanks for the update. It's always good to get an update so we know exactly what's going on. And hopefully, you know, things will, like you said, you got a couple inquiries. Hopefully those things will come to fruition and we'll get a couple new businesses. So appreciate you coming and thanks again.
You're welcome, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Okay, we are gonna go through the bills and credit card payments. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? Are there any questions on any of the bills this evening? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Lee. Second by Kevin. Roll call vote, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Havoc. Yes. Havoc,
John?
Yes.
Everett,
to hear. Yep.
Weeze. Yes. Gressel,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any requests for any conference attendings? I didn't see any in any of the minutes, so, okay. Like I said, we're not gonna read the committee reports this evening. We're gonna move on then. The only one that we're going to do is the library, for Jake's sake. Jake, you wanna give us a little overview of history today?
Oh, it's this month in history,
Yeah,
and we'll skip the minutes.
okay.
August 1st, 1944, Anne Frank entered her last entry into her diary. And off to Auschwitz. August 2nd, Continental Congress, 55 people signed the Declaration of Independence on August 2nd, 1776. You get extra points if you can name the man who signed first.
Mr. John Hancock.
Kevin gets extra points.
I think that was Scott.
Or Scott, okay.
Scott, you get to keep your mask off for a week.
July 2nd, 1776.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
in August, according to my
Discrepancy now
to
in
my
the
book.
dates here, Jake.
That's why I didn't open
Yeah.
August 4th, 1790. This one's for John Paddock.
It's the birth of the Coast Guard.
There you go. Birth of United States Coast Guard. August 6th, 1945, the world enters the nuclear age. That would be Hiroshima. August 9th, President Nixon, August 9th, 1974, President Nixon resigns. And August 15th, 1969, 3 days of fun and music began. Woodstock. So that's it.
You
How
missed,
about Elvis dying?
Well, I didn't want to get into all of that.
you missed August 7th. That's my birthday.
Oh, and a national holiday on August 7th,
Right.
1703?
Not quite.
Okay.
Thank you, Jake, for that lesson that we have every month. We appreciate that. Moving on, I still would need a motion to accept all the minutes as they were published. Moved by Jackie,
I'll second.
second by John. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Opposed, motion carried. Okay, then let's go on to approval of new operator license applications. We have Jason Holodinsky from Steel Street Hops, Sandra Johnson from Anchors Away, Emily Conup from Anchors Away, and Thomas Nellis for various locations.
So moved.
Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by Scott.
Yep.
Was it Scott?
Yep.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Need a motion to promote Madeline Procast to Rec Youth Club Supervisor.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by John, second by Mitch. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 1031, approving a revision to the pay scale for the City of Algoma employees. That was one of the tasks that we gave the administrator when he started 6 months ago, that we wanted to redo the pay scale, and that has been done. It was adopted at the Finance and Personnel and sent to council for final approval. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Moved by John. Second by Lee. Questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval for the pay increase for the city administrator effective 8/1. He has his 6-month in with the city as of August 1st, and we're proposing a pay increase for August 1st.
Move.
Moved by, who is that, Scott? Second?
Second.
Second by Jackie. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the pay increase for Park and Rec Director effective 8/1.
So moved.
Moved by Mitch,
Second.
second by John. Questions or comments? If not, was that a question? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 1032, approving a contract with Robert E. Lee and Associate for construction engineering services for the 6th Street Stormwater Lift Station Upgrade Project. And again, this is a recommendation coming from Finance and Personnel. This is just an engineering study at this point,
No, this is the engineering for the project.
for the project. Okay. Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Jake. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I thought the digging was supposed to have started by
There is no digging.
now. Oh, there is,
No,
okay,
No, it's just replacement of pumps. Everything will more or less happen inside that building.
okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
everything is ordered, I would say probably by middle of this month, you'll start to see stuff show up.
Okay.
Okay. Resolution 1033, ratifying the proposed 2021 to 2023 collective bargaining agreement between the City of Algoma and the Algoma Police Department employees. Again, that contract was negotiated with the help of Chief Remiker, Administrator Jared Hine, and Alderman Scott Merritt, Scott Meverden, along with Attorney Kelney from Green Bay. And they came to a conclusion that both parties could live with, and tonight we would like to adopt that. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by, was that Casey that moved? Casey, did you move?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Casey. Second?
I'll second.
Second by John. I'm gonna do a roll call vote since it's a contract.
Boer,
Yes.
Gristle,
Yes.
Weeze,
Yes.
Everden,
Yes.
Havoc,
Yes.
Schmidt, Kevin,
Kevin?
I can't hear her, but yes.
Okay.
Mary,
Mary?
Dashlet.
Yes.
8 yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Especially to you that were involved. I see we paid $6,000 to have the lawyer there.
Right, well, he wasn't there.
Well, was it that beneficial?
Yes.
Okay,
Let me just touch on that a little bit, Mitch. The reason that we asked was basically for the language. There were some language changes and stuff, and we wanted to make sure that the language was written correctly. Not so much for the wage part of it, or the vacation part of it, but basically for the language, because in the past, we had some issues some years ago that the way the language was written, we had a problem with something that took place, so,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Let's move on then to approval of facility master planning step 3, explore with Performa. Why don't you give us just a little overview of what took place so far there, Jared?
Yeah, so, as we, hold on, let me just switch my camera here real quick for the folks at home. So we, so far we've done steps 1 and 2 with Performa. This is for the facility needs contract, and we talked about this at Finance and Personnel. That was basically just getting a preliminary understanding of our facilities now, where some of those deficiencies are, and kind of getting a kind of a preliminary scope of where we're at and where we need to go. So this next phase is getting a more detailed and better understanding of what precisely the needs are. Basically everything short of actually designing a blueprint for a final, plan. So this would basically give us a tangible, physical facility master plan. This is what they call phase 3 or explore. So in the packet, there was kind of their outlined proposal here for that. And I just want to point out in here, when whoever makes the motion, that they do it for an amount not to exceed $31,000, because in their proposal, that is there's a lump sum amount of $28,500 and an estimated cost of $2,500. So I would just recommend that the motion include a not to exceed amount. But I'd be happy to answer any questions the best that I can regarding this. Any questions that the council may have since the Finance and Personnel meeting.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Was there a time frame? I don't remember.
Yeah, the time frame would be to have this, they would start as soon as possible, basically, and then it should be wrapped up, I want to say, yeah, about 4 weeks, so we're looking at probably mid-late September.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any other questions or comments? Do a roll call vote. And the motion is not to exceed $31,000.
Beverden,
Yes.
Weeze,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Mehring,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Havoc.
Yes.
Okay, next item is the 2019 annual report, Algoma wastewater system. Matt, do you have any comments on this, or?
I do not. I just, this went in front of our Public Works Committee, and this is a report that is part of their, Suez's contract to fulfill, that they bring a report to the city. I like to just put it on the council so every council member can take a look at it. The whole report is in everybody's packet electronically. You're welcome to take a look at it, and if anybody has any questions, I would be more than happy to get those answered.
We need a motion to adopt it, though.
It's all it is, yep,
Yeah, just a formality?
yep.
Okay. Did everybody have a chance to look at it? I'm sure if you were bored and nothing to do, it's some good reading. So if nobody has any questions, I'll accept the motion to approve it, or accept it. Moved by Jake,
Second?
second by Casey. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item J, discussion on recreational marijuana. Casey, I'm gonna turn this over to you, okay?
Sure. So, a part of why I got into what I got into here is being able to have a voice from my perspective of similar things. Recreational cannabis, it still remains a controversial issue among some. I don't think it's a controversial issue considering Illinois is legal and Michigan is legal. And I would like to see, or us consider putting a initiative on this November's ballot to the city or the citizens of Algoma, asking them whether or not they agree with or disagree with legalization of full recreational cannabis. Part of that is the state as a whole. A Marquette Law School poll in April 2019 had 80% respondents in favor of medicinal marijuana, 59% of respondents in favor of recreational marijuana. But in our state legislature, we can't even get a pharmaceuticalized medicinal bill to committee. And I don't think that our citizens and the citizens of the state as a whole are being represented appropriately on this. And how I think it's hurting us is that there is an untapped revenue stream available to us if it were to become legal in this state. Not saying that it's going to fix all our problems, but it would be one more tool in our bag to provide for further funding for roads or whatever we would apply that for. And so essentially, it's not whether or not we approve or disapprove of it, but whether or not the voters would be interested in pursuing this. Thoughts?
Again, this would be an advisory, a referendum on the ballot. It would not be binding. I asked the clerk as far as additional cost. I think there's very little, right? November will be a huge election, not only around this state, but the whole country. And I think Casey felt that it was an opportunity for the voters of Algoma to give their opinion on whether or not they were in favor of it. Before we can do that, we do need the consensus of the council in order to put it on the November ballot, and that's why I wanted Casey to present it tonight, because a decision has to be made by what, August 28th?
25th.
25th, if we're gonna do it, so we couldn't wait on this matter. Questions or comments of Casey?
So this is just like telling the state legislature that we would like them to look at it?
Right.
Nothing, doesn't change penalties, enforcement, anything in Algoma?
No, you can't. It has to come down from the state. Sturgeon Bay, I think, did the same thing. But again, it's up to the 8 of you to decide if you want it on there, but I would like a decision tonight so that Jamie can move forward with drawing up the wording. That's gonna be the key part, the wording and draw it up, and I'm sure she can talk to some of the areas that did it and get that, so. Any other, go ahead, sorry.
Can I speak to Mitch's point?
Yep.
Like, I think about, like when I talk to constituents and citizens at large, the stigma that is involved with it prohibits a greater voice. And here, the opportunity would be anonymity, as the mayor referenced in a big election. So we would get the truest representation, and the voice of a collected hundreds or thousand has more weight in my mind than an individual voice when you're calling the minority representation who doesn't agree with the majority opinion.
Casey, this is John. You mentioned Illinois and Michigan. Isn't Minnesota also a recreational state?
Minnesota is only medicinal at this point.
I could use it.
There are 33 total legalized states. 9 of them are fully recreational. Washington, Oregon, California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Michigan, and I may be missing Vermont is, but they don't have they're basically decriminalized. They don't have a tax system in place for them. Illinois specifically, in the first 4 months, the state had garnered 40 million in tax revenues, and up to through July 110 million. And as of July, the local municipalities could enact an excise tax. And and that's another point. I think that if in fact we can collectively, that the citizens can push this to be an issue that the legislature takes seriously. Perhaps municipalities might have a better place at the table to talk about how we want to see the distribution of tax revenues, considering that it would have been delivered from the grassroots, from the base, the decision to do this or to pursue it more intently.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, Casey, it's more or less asking us to put the questionnaire on the ballot. I guess clarification on that point, and then question to Jamie: is there a cost associated with drafting this or doing this?
Casey, you want to go first?
Well, I'm sorry. I guess I missed the specific question to me. I apologize, Scott.
So you're looking for something to be on the ballot just to get like a generalized consensus of, an anonymous consensus of the people of the city to see if it's something that they'd be interested in, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the second question would be to Jamie and the administrator. What are the costs, if any, associated with doing this? Is there?
I don't know the specific costs, but I think overall they'd be pretty minimal. There would be some publication fees, a little bit of time on my part, and maybe consulting with legal to figure out the wording. But other than that, it's not gonna cost a whole lot for us.
All right, thank you.
John, did you have a comment? I thought you raised your hand.
No, I just couldn't hear what Jamie was saying. I don't know if she's close to a microphone or not, or if it's just that the way it's coming in.
I can move this mic here now.
Am I talking?
Yep, you're talking.
Okay, can you hear me?
Is that better, John?
It's better.
Okay, I just said that I don't know exactly what the cost would be. I think they would be fairly minimal. There would be publication requirements involved. We would probably have to consult legal or just spend a little bit of extra time figuring out exactly what the process is, because we don't do referendums every day. But overall, pretty small cost.
Jake?
I'm uncomfortable voting for something without knowing what the wording is going to be. That's the critical issue.
Well, I think what we could do, if I may.
And unless I see what that referendum says, I come from a state that governs by referendum. And unless I can see what that referendum says, I can't support anything until I see it in black and white. I need to know what it says. Otherwise, I'm voting in the blind. And I apologize for that. We're now 20 days out, and we're just speculating on whether we should apply it or not. Not that I'm opposed, but I can't, in good conscience, give approval on something I haven't seen.
Okay.
So I think that's an excellent point, and that was part of the reason we wanted to get this on this meeting. What we can do is, if, let's just say hypothetically it were approved, we would work on that wording and bring it before Finance and Personnel, and probably then, because we do have that Finance and Personnel meeting prior to the referendum deadline, and then if necessary, we could do like a special meeting following that and just as a formality. And that would still, we would have that prior to the deadline.
I would also, I don't know if, Casey, if you had a chance to talk with Chief Remaker on this?
I had not, because at this point, it had nothing to do with the attempt to change or alter. That's a whole different conversation. This is just an attempt to give the direct voice of people. I personally think direct participation is the best participation in democracy. So it's not trying to change the culture or change the legality. It's just to bring a voice. So at this point, I didn't think it was necessary or appropriate to speak with the chief in regards to this particular issue.
Okay. So then, based on Jared's comments, would that give you enough time, Jamie, to put something together for the next Finance and Personnel meeting? And then we can act on it then, and we can have a special council meeting right after to approve it. And that would give you time to get it on the ballot, correct?
Right. Are you voting now, though, to see if you want us to move forward? I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it if we're gonna get a
Well-
And I think that's what
8
the
to
motion would
nothing.
need to be right now, is saying we.
Whether or
want-
not you want us to work on
Is
it.
to direct staff to
Yeah.
work on it or not, and
Is
then
that-
the final decision would be made
At the
with the
co-
actual language at whatever that special meeting is.
Pre-approval.
Are you okay with that, Jake? You're gonna,
Again, it's very ambiguous. I need a very clear.
well, I think at that point, you will be getting a clear, idea of what the wording will say. I mean, I think that's your question, correct? Well, all we're doing now is, and I understand what Jamie's saying, I don't want Jamie to go ahead and do a lot of work, and then the majority says, we're not gonna do anything with it. Is the council in favor of at least looking at this and proposing it on the November ballot based on the final language that would be approved at the Finance and Personnel meeting? Are we okay with that? And if you're not, that's fine, Jake. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to move this thing along here and get a consensus that out of the 8 council people, the majority willing to do this. What you're doing is you're basically giving a voice to the voters of the city of Algoma on the matter of legalizing marijuana, which still has to be enacted by the state of Wisconsin. It's just telling our legislators in the state of Wisconsin, this is how our community feels. I don't know, is any additions or anything? So I'll entertain a motion to have the clerk and the administrator move forward with trying to put some language together by the next Finance and Personnel meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Casey,
I'll second it.
second by Mitch. Any other questions or comments? Let's do a roll call vote just to get a feel.
Weeze,
Jackie?
No. Gressel,
Yes.
Boer,
Case?
Dashlet,
No.
Mehring,
No.
Schmidt,
Kevin?
No.
Tavik,
Yes.
Meverden.
Scott?
No.
No?
All right, so we had 5 no's, 3 yeses.
Then the motion fails. Okay. All right, let's move on then to the administrator's report. Jared?
Just give me a second here for folks at home. Alrighty. All right, so as you see in your packet, we've begun the process of putting together the operating budget for 2021 as well as the 2021-2025 CIP. The plan right now is to have a working draft document to the council prior to a mid-September workshop. My plan was to bring that before you, the Finance and Personnel Committee, later this month to pick a specific date for that workshop. Personnel manual update, just kind of giving an update there. We're working on overhauling that and looking at what changes need to be made. So the first step will be more or less, we're going through and collecting other personnel manuals, looking at what we want to model. Our goal is to have a new manual by the new year, so that will involve review by legal as well as the council. Just want to give you an idea of the timeline there. Performance evaluations are underway, so just about all of the self-evaluations have been completed, and supervisors have already begun meeting with their employees as well to go over those reviews. So that's on schedule. COVID-19, well, as we all know, this is now a little bit out of date, given the new mask mandate that we're all dealing with right now. So again, it's kind of going with that first point that we're just continuing to monitor the situation and make what changes we need to. But I wanted to give an update on the grant as well. So we have the grant from the state I mentioned, I believe at the last meeting, an amount just about $50,000 to $51,000. We've requested reimbursement about $5,600. I don't know how much we've gotten yet, if any. I don't think we've gotten word yet on that, but that would, assuming we get it all, that would leave about $44,000 left in our account. Now that we've had one cycle and we have a much better idea of what the state's looking for, what's eligible, what's not, we're going to be much more aggressive with pursuing that, particularly, and I'll be talking with the fire chief on this and the police chief as well, looking at public safety for what we can be doing there and being more aggressive on that side of it. Not that we haven't been yet, just that I think we might want to look at doing a little more stockpiling looking forward. Because at first, as you might recall, I was a little reluctant to recommend that because I wasn't sure if that was what the state was looking at. And my understanding from what I've heard is that the state, their advice has been stockpiling's okay as long as it's within reason. And I believe what they said was, just don't go squirreling stuff away for 3 years worth of equipment, but it's okay to plan for a prolonged a need there. So that's something that we'll talk more about internally. We have 2 more rounds of grant requests that we can reimburse. So the next one will be in September and the third one will be in November. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Anybody have any questions of the administrator's report? Hearing none. Thank you, Jared. Mayor's appointments. I need to appoint a member to the Redevelopment Authority. We had a resignation a couple weeks ago, and so I was looking for somebody, and I'd like the council to approve my appointment of Leah Pierke. Leah is a student at UWGB. She's also employed at Multicolor here in Algoma, and she does own property, and she lives in the city of Algoma. And I wanted to try to keep a female on that committee, so I would like approval of Leah this evening to be a member of the RDA.
So moved.
Moved by Lee.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda items for next meeting. If you have any agenda items that you would like put on the agenda, let the clerk know. But if you have any particular questions about anything that's going on in any of the departments, we do have a chain of command that I like to follow here. So if you have an issue or a comment or something about one of the departments, rather than bringing it to finance and personnel, I'd appreciate it if you would sit down with the chairman of that committee and the administrator and then just express your question or your concern and let them work on it and then go to the appropriate committee meeting. I think those things can get taken care of at a committee level rather than coming to the finance and personnel. So thank you for that. That being said, I would like to accept a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statutes 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, update from legal counsel regarding ongoing litigation against City of Algoma and Algoma Long-Term Care Unit.
So
Moved by Mitch.
Second.
Second by John. Roll call vote, please.
Schmidt,
Kevin?
Yes.
Abbott,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yep.
Weeze,
Jackie?
yes, Russell,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes?
Dashlet,
Yes.
Herring.
Yes.
Thank you.